Ishbia needs to understand. Matt Ishbia needs to understand that right now you are on the verge of being recognized as the worst owner in the history of basketball. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. Donald Sterling once owned an NBA franchise. James Dolan, until he recently hired Leon Rose, was on that trajectory. That's the trajectory, if you're Matt Ishbia, that you are on right now, being recognized as arguably the worst in the history of basketball. Why? Your team goes to the finals. Since that time, you come along, got rid of Chris Paul, got rid of DeAndre Ayton, got rid of Cam Johnson, got rid of these guys. Ultimately, Mikal Bridges, he's gone too. Got rid of Coach Monty Williams. Not only did you get rid of Coach Monty Williams, you hired Frank Vogel, got rid of him after 1 year. You got rid of Mike Budenholzer 1 year after signing him to a 5-year deal in excess of $50 million. You spent $214 million in salary this last season, about $152 million in luxury tax dollars, which was both tops for the NBA. Yes, you got Kevin Durant. Yes, you got Bradley Beal with $111 million left on his deal. But in the process, you've given up the farm, like damn near 8 first-round picks, for crying out. I don't even know what number it is, okay? You've just depleted your assets along the way. No one is more culpable for this particular question than the ownership. 98% of their problems falls on ownerships and the decisions that they have made. But we got to leave the 2%. Matt Ishbia needs to understand. Leave the 2%.
Now, that was a very bold statement. It was extremely bold because he said some things he shouldn't have said, but he's a bottom feeder and he gonna do what he do. He gonna do that thing. He gonna do that thing. And all he's seeing is the publicity of those numbers crunching up. He's seeing, oh my God, I got these numbers coming in and people, I'm trending. So when you want to trend, you forget that's an NBA owner you talking about, sir. An NBA owner. He wasn't going to take that line down at all. Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Oh, and the beat don't stop. The beat don't stop.
Part of that is we had high expectations and we've missed the bell by a lot. Not just last year, but this year and last year, obviously, or not this year, last year and this year. And changes are coming.
Matt, Shane Young with Forbes. Sure, you over the last couple of days probably saw a national reporter make some, ridiculous statements about you might be being the worst team owner or worst owner in professional sports history. Just kind of wondering what your response is if you have it.
Yeah, so Stephen A. Smith, I don't take much he says seriously. I don't think many people do, to be honest with you. Things he said about Kevin Durant, just wrong and disrespectful. Things he said about LeBron James were just disrespectful and inappropriate. And so with that being said, I don't really think Stephen A. believes what he said. I think, he's doing his thing. He's on the mic and he's doing what he's, and I think he'll apologize to me because I think it's disrespectful to put my name and aligned with anybody that was kicked out of the league or no longer part. Like, yeah, if he wants to say for the first 2.5 years, Matt bought the team, we didn't win a championship. I think you probably say about almost every owner ever. But yeah, we had high expectations and we didn't win. We spent a lot of money and we didn't win. Yep. Be critical of me on that. But to even say that kind of stuff, like I said, that's just, I think, like I said, he'll apologize. I think he was out of line. And I think he knows that. I don't think he really believes that. With that being said, like, what is a great owner, right? Like my job, like I'm definitely not shooting. You don't want to see me shoot or play or coach. Like, what am I supposed to do? And my job is to provide resources so that when my GM, my front office, my coach want something, want a player, like that I say yes. I don't focus on profitability. I focus on winning. I focus on the community. I focus on the fan experience. And so I focus on those things. I think that's what makes a great owner. I think if you ask people in Phoenix, they probably think I'm a great owner. The TV, all the games on TV for free, like that's a big profitability hit, but we led with that. I walked the concourse and realized the concession stand prices are crazy, and we lower the prices. Like that's what I think a great owner would do. Investing in the Mercury, $100 million practice facility, like that's kind of what I think a great owner would do. Community, we brought the WNBA All-Star game, we bring the NBA All-Star game, we put millions of dollars into the community, doing a lot of things. Like, I think that's my role. Now, let's be clear, winning is part of my job too, right? But there's a lot of things a great owner would do, and to even put me in that category, I thought was disrespectful. And like I said, we'll just move on from that. I don't really spend much time thinking about him.
Woo! So Matt Ishida comes out and makes that statement about Stephen A. Smith. So when you make a statement like that against an NBA owner, if you're Stephen A. Smith, you have to be very careful because you're forgetting your day job and you're forgetting that I know you feel. He said, the owner said he will apologize. Yeah. See, you forget that when you get in a situation like that and you start doing stuff just to trend on social media, he's an NBA owner. You better watch how you speak about an NBA owner who is powerful, unless the league itself is against that person. If you're on national television, this is not a player. This is an owner. There's a major difference. Certain things they will tolerate, they won't let others tolerate. They won't let others even engage in. %100% they won't. So when Matt Ishida came in and said what he said, saying, nah, I think he'll apologize. Because he know, he better apologize. He gonna do that. There's no question. He's gonna do that. Well, if you look at the situation playing out, Stephen A. is a company man. He's not going to talk to Stephen A. Smith. He's going to go to the owners of Stephen A. Smith. He's going to talk to them. You see, when you talk to them, mhm. No, not even close. Stephen A knows what he did, and he knows the severity of what he did. He's not that dumb. See, he knows that was a big statement to make about an NBA owner, especially one like Matt. Oh, well, it gets a little different too.
Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. I do owe him an apology because I mentioned Donald Sterling. I thought I was making it clear I was talking about basketball. Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. I do owe him an apology.
And as you see, unless you're black and an NBA player, you can't get that apology. But when you talk about an NBA owner and you're working at ESPN, you got to be careful on what you say to an NBA owner, because then the bosses are going to call you. And then you have to do this.
Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. I do owe him an apology because I mentioned Donald Sterling. I thought I was making it clear I was talking about basketball. I certainly did not mean to compare him to a person that was thrown out of this league and has been widely recognized as a racist. I should not have mentioned Matt Ishbia's name in the same breath as Donald Sterling in that regard. I did not mean to do that. I was not talking about that Donald Sterling. I was talking about the Donald Sterling that would be sitting courtside, heckling his own damn players and never winning anything and didn't give a damn. That's the Donald Sterling that I was talking about in terms of how ineffective he was as an owner on a basketball court. I certainly did not mean to do that. So Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. And for that, I apologize. I'm a man. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. Unfortunately for you, sir, that's the only thing I'm wrong about. And that's the only apology that you're getting from me.
Woo! That's the only apology you're getting from me. Well, that's what happens, you know. That's the only one he needs. He doesn't need anything else from you. No. Stephen A. thought in his mind that he's very important. He feels I'm very important. This is about me. I could do and say what I want. He never thought this would get to this level. You never mentioned Donald Sterling, who's been disgraced. Said, oh, I'm talking about basketball. You don't mention him. With a disgraced owner like Donald Sterling, that would give people the wrong perception of Matt Ishida, which is clearly he's not like Donald Sterling in that way. He's the opposite of Donald Sterling. So now that you was forced to apologize, you come out and try to show some backbone during the apology. That was the only thing I was talking about. I was talking about basketball. In basketball, you don't compare another owner to Donald Sterling unless they have been experiencing or have experienced the same thing as Donald Sterling. If they have been kicked out of this league for the egregious acts, then yes, you can compare them to Donald Sterling. Other than that, no, you cannot. But he's a company man. You know he gonna do, but he was wrong. He was wrong when he said it. It was wrong when it was put in. No. I often feel that so much is made when it comes to Stephen A. Smith and all of this stuff that they say, because they allow him to get away with saying a lot on ESPN about players, and they don't hold him accountable or put his feet to the fire. So he just says whatever he wants. Now imagine what that looks like for an owner if Stephen A. is allowed to call you Donald Sterling, and what's that's going to look like to players coming into the league or other people thinking that you're that way. That's very offensive. So, of course, when he apologizes to anybody that seems to be in power, he has no problem going on ESPN to do that. He didn't go on the Stephen A. Smith show and apologize. But when he apologizes to black folks, when he goes on ESPN and says that, then he goes ahead and goes on his private show and apologize over there. But that's not where you did it. Stephen A. won because we talked to him, Boggs grabbed it, and now who you talking about? Him. Yeah, but this ain't the him he's going to like. See, all views ain't good views because, yeah, you eating today, but tomorrow you're going to have to eat. And you can get fired. That $100 million contract ain't gonna save you. You will be fired, and you'll be eating off YouTube. Sometimes that deal ain't all what it's cranked up to be. But he was so big and bold to make that comment. Then Matt said, I think he's going to apologize. And he was right. Right down to the letter. He knew he was going to apologize because there was nothing else for him to do. How do I feel about the rest of what? The rest of the people that they put in charge? No. LeBron can't get him fired. He can't get Stephen A. fired because, one, Stephen A., he's a player, and you're going to have just cause to get him fired. Now, he hasn't insulted you on the platform. Plus, LeBron is the one that initiated the entire incident. He the one came up to Stephen A. Smith. Now, if ESPN says you can mention Bronny, you can't tell him, be like, I'm doing my job on the show. But what he's also doing, that's bigger than that, is creating enemies. You're creating enemies. And I don't think you want to create enemies in this sport. Why I don't care about the Grizzlies game? Because I've already seen the Grizzlies game. It doesn't really matter because the Miami Heat will be gone in the first round. We know that. We didn't matter. That's what I'm saying. Does the in-season tournament even matter? Does it even matter? Well, Lakers were there. They were the first in-season team to go to the Western Conference Finals because it was the Lakers and LeBron James. Other than that, does the in-season tournament matter? No, because the majority of them will all be gone in the first round. The only one that's going to matter is Houston and Golden State, because Golden State is going to beat Houston. And that upset's going to happen. Everybody will be like, oh, well, it's Steph and the Warriors. They're not going to look at that as an epic collapse, which it was, a very epic collapse, and it will be, by a coach they don't really care about anyway. Ime Udoka. Oh, he cheated on his fiance with a girl. That's all they remember. So they're not going to care. It's just another thing the NBA tried to copy off of NCAA and want to implant that into the NBA. Something else they stole because they're not original. They steal things and bring it to the league and think it's going to be entertaining. And it's not. The in-season tournament, if you were going to have it, Adam Silver, needed to be with teams who did not make the playoffs. Put together, that's what I thought they were doing when they created it, because that was the talk. The teams that didn't make the playoffs get to play in a tournament. Just have another tournament with teams that didn't make it, and the winner of that will get a consolation prize. It's like in fantasy football, how they play for third place. Yeah, have basically the third place championship. Let them play so that smaller teams who didn't make the playoffs, who probably got better, yeah, they looked at Robert Salver, who the league didn't want to get rid of, but it kind of went against their policies. So Robert Sawyer had to go. Here's the thing. We're in a date of age where everybody wants things right now. And they see like, oh, well, he just took over the team, 4 years ago? If that. So in 4 years, Matt Ishida is supposed to be an NBA champion. He just got the team. He wants to restructure it in the way he wants to do it. He brought in Kevin Durant. He brought in Kevin Durant. He brought in, he got Devin Booker. He brought in Bradley Beal, gave up 8 picks to get him. He thought he was building a super team. And like he said, changes are coming. But it's like he said, what owner has won championships in their first 4 years? I mean, Ballmer took over the Clippers. They've had some success. They went and got Kawhi Leonard and everything else. But what? You gonna say he sucks because he didn't win an NBA championship? I mean, in the last 2 seasons, they haven't done well. But to go straight to the owner, I would put some of the onus on the players and the fact that they had to deal with Bradley Beal, who don't want to go nowhere. They tried to make a move, but he would have to waive his no trade clause. But it was more than just what was happening in Phoenix. It's the fact that the NBA, they're not part of the agenda, Stephen A. The NBA's agenda is the Los Angeles Lakers with Luka Doncic and all the things they're doing over there. They don't like what Phoenix has done. Adam Silver is upset he had to even fire Robert Salver because Robert Salver had all this money as well, and he had to go find a new owner. And he had all this real estate money, and they were, oh my gosh. We got to let all this revenue go away and bring in a new owner and new ownership because, he's looked at as a racist man. And he was like, I am completely not. Now I've been disgraced. So the NBA had to basically pay this man to leave because he was suing. Like, y'all voting me out, the governors? They was like, well, we're on this BLM movement and we can't, there's nothing we can do. Adam Silver just wanted to fire him, but because he wanted to be hard and stern on punishment, to see what kind of commissioner would he be, he wasn't out of here. They're not going to get better until, well, pretty much. But changes are coming. So that was it for Bradley Beal's no trade clause. That's out of the way. So now you got the main headache out of the way. You got that problem solved. Now you can get back to basketball. Yes, there are constant, and I do mean constant distractions, constant ways people are affecting what's going on in the basketball world completely. But when they make you apologize, this is why. Well, I found it to be quite an amazing experience. Like what you said, it's amazing to me that the more and more you see the more and more you see how this goes, the more and more you'll see fallout. No. Well, you're looking at reasons that don't seem fit. That's why I always say about controversy and all that nonsense that Stephen A tries to portray. He's stuck and he knows he's got no way out. Matt Ishida's problem is not what they think. If he's got a problem, the Grizzlies owner's got a problem. If he's got a problem, he don't have any other problem in the West that everybody else don't have. That's not the Lakers. They're not the agenda of the league. So the agenda is the Los Angeles Lakers. So that means 29 other owners they don't really too much give a damn about. You're not Adam Silver Slipper's pick. You're not his choice in the matter. Is it problematic? Is it a major issue? That remains to be seen. But with Nico Harrison, as you saw what happened there, well, Nico Harrison, look at where he ended up. Look at his trajectory and look where he's at now. I think Devin Booker is gone. And it's time for Devin Booker to go. He's been there long enough. Free Devin Booker. Mm. Well, there are going to be different instances in all of this when it's all said and done. Well, Matt knew he was going to apologize.
Part of that is we had high expectations and we've missed the bell by a lot, not just last year, but this year and last year, obviously, or not this year, last year and this year, and changes are coming.
Matt, Shane Young with Forbes. Sure, you over the last couple of days probably saw a national reporter make some, ridiculous statements about you might be being the worst team owner or worst owner in professional sports history. Just kind of wondering what your response is if you have one.
Yeah, so Stephen A. Smith, I don't take much he says seriously. I don't think many people do, to be honest with you. Things he said about Kevin Durant, just wrong and disrespectful. The things he said about LeBron James were just disrespectful and inappropriate. And so with that being said, I don't really think Stephen A. believes what he said. I think, he's doing his thing. He's on the mic and he's doing what he's, and I think he'll apologize to me because I think it's disrespectful to put my name and aligned with anybody that was kicked out of the league or no longer part. Like, yeah, if he wants to say for the first 2.5 years, Matt Ishbia bought the team, we didn't win a championship. I think you probably say about almost every owner ever. But yeah, we had high expectations and we didn't win. We spent a lot of money and we didn't win. Yep. Be critical of me on that. But to even say that kind of stuff, like I said, that's just, I think, like I said, he'll apologize. I think he was out of line. And I think he knows that. I don't think he really believes that. With that being said, like, what is a great owner, right?
He will apologize. He was out of line. Wow.
Is absolutely right. Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. I do owe him an apology because I mentioned Donald Sterling. I thought I was making it clear I was talking about basketball. I certainly did not mean to compare him to a person that was thrown out of this league and has been widely recognized as a racist. I should not have mentioned Matt Ishbia's name in the same breath as Donald Sterling in that regard. I did not mean to do that. I was not talking about that Donald Sterling. I was talking about the Donald Sterling that would be sitting courtside, heckling his own damn players and never winning anything and didn't.
You never mentioned Donald Sterling, period. Because once again, Stephen A., that's something he's never done also. No. Well, there's a lot of people going for a certain look, a certain appeal that only pertains to one particular situation. When it's all said and done, Stephen A. Smith is going to be the one to have to answer. Oh, tenfold.
And give a damn. That's the Donald Sterling that I was talking about in terms of how ineffective he was as an owner on a basketball court. I certainly did not mean to do that. So Matt Ishbia is absolutely right. And for that, I apologize. I'm a man. If I'm wrong, I'll say I'm wrong. Unfortunately for you, sir, that's the only thing I'm wrong about.
Yep. 100 times over. But I'm glad we got that covered. So anyway, I'm going to get up out of here. Don't forget to join the Patreon. Check out the Patreon. We got some cool stuff over there. And we're out.